Hello?
Hi, Paul. It's Dad. I was just wondering, what's your address again? I've got that box of your favorite sweatshirts back here at the house. Kind of thought you'd like to have them again.
When he said favorite sweatshirts, he wasn't confused. Not my dad. He was visiting. Visiting a time when I was still small enough to run out the door barefoot. He was visiting a time that I needed him to remind me of things. To believe that dads never aged.
Welcome back to Life's Learning Curve. Storytelling. Our own life stories, full of humor, some cringeworthy moments, and at times, a grander purpose. Did you ever wonder just how you became the person you are today? That's us. Storytelling. Here's a guy who knows that each day is a fresh start all over again. Paul Hart.
I found a box yesterday, tucked behind some old jackets in the far back section of my basement. And inside were some things that, well, they didn't belong to me anymore. Never did.
Oh.
It was
Look at this.
some clothes and an old guitar. But I couldn't quite bring myself to give them away.
I remember this.
Because for a long time, they were my purpose. Sebastian.
Life's Learning Curve. Season 8. Episode The Florida Guitar. Stand by.
Back when purpose was loud. There was a time in my life when purpose didn't need explaining. It didn't need searching, It was just there all the time. It showed up every morning when I was a child and waited for me in the backyard, seemingly. There were things that I needed to do. Sandbox, batting the ball around the backyard, waiting for friends to show up. I remember that time of life, around 11 years old. That was, in particularly, a long summer for me. Why? Well, that summer there were no neighborhood friends around. That summer was just heat and quiet for me. But my dad, when my dad got home from work, he never let that quiet settle in for too long. See, your parents, well, you always think when you're a child that your parents aren't aware of anything you're doing or what's going on in your life. But he did.
Come on, one more. When you pitch, you're dropping your elbow again.
One more pitch turned into 20 more. 20 more turned into, I don't know, it turned into an hour or so. And somewhere between the throws, I stopped feeling alone.
Oh. Ah, my face. Ow.
Sorry, son. I overpitched that one. You're okay. Here, why don't you rub a little dirt on it?
I did. Life didn't ever seem to hurt as bad when Dad was with me. True. By the way, back then I really thought that rubbing dirt on a minor injury helped. And there was the coolness factor there as well. I'm rubbing dirt on this.
You're okay. There you go.
Okay. Thanks, Dad.
That day, that was his purpose, and without saying many words, my dad made it mine too. Quality time. He made me feel great again. He was getting his young son ready for life as an adult, where sometimes hurt and grief and pain are, well, they're everywhere.
You're dropping your elbow again. There you go.
It was love in its purest form. Now, my mom had a different rhythm. It was quieter, steadier, but just as present. She didn't teach with speeches. She taught with time and stories, a light-hearted approach to life. Time at the kitchen table, or in the two small rockers in the front room of our house. Time in the car on the way to, the grocery store. Time in those in-between moments where life just happens. I never really brought up any trauma or conflicts to my mom, but she could read me. I'll tell you what, that lady could read me better than I could ever read myself. She knew things about me before I ever felt them or thought them. Example, once I was 16 and I had found myself my first real girlfriend, or so I thought. What do you know when you're 15 anyway?
Come in the front room, I'll get some coffee, and let's sit in the rockers. Tell me all about what's going on in your life.
I never revealed too much about my life as it revealed itself to me, and this as a guy, okay, I shared almost nothing with my family. I never actually thought too much about it, but as I've gotten older, I realized that I was so concerned that I might be doing everything wrong in my life that I stayed fairly quiet about it all.
You have a girlfriend now.
Yeah, how'd you know?
Well, you've been showering more, and you're dressing better.
I guess so, yeah.
Bring her over to Sunday dinner, Paul. I'll cook a ham.
A ham? Whoa. So soon. I hadn't expected this. Thinking of the age I'm at right now, I believe that's a really good question for me back then, because I wasn't saying too much about anything. And my mom replied,
Well, let's just put it this way. When you know that you have a girlfriend that you want to bring home to meet your dad and me, you've got a girl worth spending time with. Also, one that's okay to meet the family.
When did my mom get so smart? I wondered. Mom was right. I did not bring home that girl that weekend. Wrong girl. That filter my mom suggested to me remained throughout my life. I even passed that one on to my own kids. See, my mom was nurturing. It's hard to find adjectives for your mom. She was nurturing, but she was also very practical, loving. She was very grounded. She had had a solid, good family growing up. And somehow, she always made me feel like whatever I was doing and whatever I was going through or not going through, that it was important. And it mattered. And then there was my sister Sue. She was a very strong-willed, focused sister, older sister by about 3 years. She could stand up for herself in any situation, a future leader in the making, incidentally. And when it came to high school, especially dating when I got to high school and she was in college, I wasn't exactly operating as an independent nation. Sue.
You're not wearing that. Trust me.
And the thing was, she wasn't trying to run my life, she was protecting it. Up until then, I wore only my favorite sweatshirts to school. I had a bunch of favorite sweatshirts. I remember one was a Green Giants, a Jolly Green Giant sweatshirt. It was green and it said ho 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 on it. I thought I was pretty special when I wore that one. My sister Sue had this spot on radar for things I didn't even see coming. And years later, when life really cracked open, when my marriage ended, she showed up the exact same way. Not to fix it, not to solve it, just right there beside me. That was my sister Sue. Still is. So back then, I thought all of that was happening to me was just, well, this is just life.
Just life.
Just what parents and a sister did. Little did I ever realize how special and unique my family situation actually was. It took a few years down the road for me to realize not all my friends had the same kind of foundation or support. See, I knew and I realized that God had blessed me with a real family. When purpose was everything. In my 30s, wife, kids, and organized chaos. These were the years where purpose wasn't just present, it was overwhelming. Heidi, my girl, Riley, my boy, they all looked at me like I had all the answers, sometimes.
Dada?
2 young lives, exhaustingly busy with their lives. And I believed it. I believed I was the center of their world in those years. You kind of have to believe that to make things happen. Because for a while, I was, homework help, late night stories at bedtime, making their stuffed animals come to life, keeping everybody happy sometimes, giving personalities to all their stuffed animals. For Heidi, it was Pink Bunny. For Riley, it was Plaid Bear. And the adventures they went on. As the years rapidly passed, it morphed into driving to soccer practices, attending games, driving to gigs or band practices. And then I was explaining life back then like I had it all figured out. The here's what I do type of thing. I didn't have it all figured out, but maybe. It was simple. My wife and I were their lives at that age. A wonderful life was happening, and they needed me. Purpose, strong and seemingly everlasting. And what I didn't know then was that all those little conversations, they don't disappear. They just grow up with them. Hello?
Daddy, quick question. Was it Hey Jude that Paul McCartney wrote for John's son, or am I mixing that up again?
You're dangerously close to being right. I'll tell you which is impressive.
No way. It was originally Hey Jules, right?
Hey Riley, come on in. I'm talking to your sister in Texas.
What a colossal waste of time.
Hey!
Anyway, so I thought, well...
Yeah, just in support.
Let me try now. As for my dad, well, he was still around when my kids were young. My mom, by that time, had passed. We called each other. Listen, there's some phone calls that don't carry information. They carry something else. And my father and I talked weekly, if not daily. However, about once a season, he would ask me the same question. Hello?
Hi, Paul. It's Dad. I was just wondering, what's your address again? I've got that box of your favorite sweatshirts back here at the house. Kind of thought you'd like to have them again.
My favorite sweatshirts. I was 42 years old at the time, and I had a mortgage and 2 kids, some chaos, and a lawn that refused to grow evenly. And my father was worried about sending me my favorite sweatshirts. Now, the first time he said it to me in a phone call, I laughed. The second time, I corrected him. The third time, I stopped correcting him. What I didn't understand yet was that this was not about favorite sweatshirts at all. This was about memory. It was about my father, a young father, standing in a hallway many years ago, probably around 1975, holding a stack or a box of what I called my favorite sweatshirts, calling up the stairs to my room.
Paul, don't forget to pack your favorite sweatshirts.
Back then, I needed him to remind me. Now, he needed something else. See, aging doesn't just steal memory. It rearranges it. And my father wasn't forgetting where I lived. He was remembering where I used to live. In his house. At his table. Under his roof. When he said favorite sweatshirts, he wasn't confused. Not my dad. He was visiting. Visiting a time when I was still small enough to run out the door barefoot. He was visiting a time that I needed him to remind me of things. To believe that dads never aged. One afternoon, I remember I asked him, Dad, what do you mean about my favorite sweatshirts?
I always had to remind you. Every year, you always forgot them.
That's when it hit me. He wasn't trying to send me clothes. He was trying to send me back. Back to when he was needed. Purpose. Back to a time when I was home. I lived there. When parents age, they don't always say, I miss you. Sometimes they say,
Did you lock the car?
Or,
Drive safe.
Or,
Are you feeling okay?
Or,
I've got your favorite sweatshirts here.
It's coded language. It's a love that grew up in a generation that didn't talk about feelings. It fixed carburetors instead.
Hold the flashlight. There. Yeah. Right there.
The last call. As middle-aged continued for me, the calls from my dad became less frequent. His voice became a little thinner. But one July, the phone rang again.
Hey, Paul. I was just wondering, what's your address again? I've got your favorite sweatshirts here.
And this time, I didn't correct him.
Dad? Listen. You always took care of all my favorite sweatshirts. All of them. Thank you.
And there was silence on the phone. I could hear him breathing. I could hear something else too. A relief, I think. He didn't need the address. He just needed to know. I remembered. Now back to my world. In my workaday world, at the same time I was dad, I was a teacher. And I was standing in front of classrooms, instructing, evaluating, doing a lot of things, but most of all, connecting, trying to. Students watching, waiting, depending, an award-winning teacher, they said. But what it really was purpose. Every day, someone needed something I could provide or access for their learning, and I could give it. Now, let me tell you, that's a powerful place to live. Lots of responsibility with that. I loved my time in education, and I carry this quiet pride in the students who have gone on to become thoughtful, capable, meaningful, workable adults. Not because I follow their path, but because for a little while, I got to be a part of where it began. For some students, I got to be a part of their purpose. When purpose gets quiet, and then, without warning, it changed. Time. So quickly, it seemed. My family once again. My house got quieter. The roles shifted, not gone, just different. Okay, so that takes us back to the top of the episode. That's when I found those things in the far back of my basement. Things they left behind. A prom dress, a pair of sneakers, some clothes, and that old guitar that my son always called the Florida guitar because we bought it at a Florida flea market on vacation. And he always traveled with that guitar. These were the things that didn't belong to me anymore. But I can't quite bring myself to give them away because for a long time, they were part of my purpose. And I realized I'm not holding on to this stuff, but I'm holding on to what I once was. My purpose.
Hello.
Hi, Riley.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Riley, I found some old clothes yesterday. Also, I found your old Florida guitar.
Oh, man, that's still probably out of tune from 2012.
Out of tune? It never stopped you.
Hey, it had character. You still have that little amp, too?
Yeah, I still have the little amp. But I gotta tell you, I'm not running a museum here at the house. But I'm pretty close.
Well, don't throw it out. I might need it.
I figured you might.
Hey, before I get back to work, a quick one. Who played lead on While My Guitar Gently Weeps?
That, my friend, was not George.
Eric Clapton. The lead guitar was running through a Leslie speaker.
And that gave it that really smooth, kind of weepy sound in the song. And you know what? He didn't need any Florida guitar, and he didn't need any extra clothes from the basement from some box. But just like me, he needed the conversation. Touching bases, knowing that you're still there. And that puts my heart in a good place.
Hello?
Daddy, quick thing. Settle this. Best Beatles album. Go.
Oh, we're doing this again?
Yes, and this time you're wrong.
Sure, okay.
Sometimes, if I'm being honest here, I don't even know why I called either one of them. Just to hear their voice, to feel connected again. In my mind, the rough waters of the present day vanish almost immediately when I hear them, even if I just talk to them for a minute on the phone. For me, it usually works. And it hit me. Purpose doesn't just disappear. It just changes its voice.
I found your old guitar in the basement yesterday. See, I never threw it away. Can you still use it when you're coming over, son? River Street's still kinda fun. More bars and churches, a lumberyard alone. See, I keep thinking about you both. My day's like a sinking stone. I can't make it go away, so I called you on the phone.
The Turn. I guess I spent years thinking my purpose was to be needed on and on. But maybe that never was the point. Maybe the real purpose was just to help them reach a place where they didn't need me anymore. To become their own people. And that's the job. A parent's job. And somehow that success can feel like loss. if you're not careful. The purpose that stayed. So what did we learn today? What did I learn? Well, here it is. I was blessed. My dad didn't stop being my father when I stopped needing him to play catch or to have dinner or to take me somewhere or just to have a good laugh. To me, it seemed like my dad, he was there for me. It seemed like he was always there for me. Not smothering, but just there, present. We were still laughing and sharing life all the way up to age 91 for him. A good life. Now, as for my mom, she didn't lose her purpose in my eyes when I stopped asking her for advice. Why? Because I never stopped asking her for her advice all the way until she passed at age 67. It was too soon. My mom and dad, they didn't disappear as I got older. They just, it seems to me, they stood quietly in the background of my life or on the sidelines. Always there, with that comforting smile on their faces, allowing me to succeed and allowing me to fail. Always there, seemingly, always steady, giving me enough space to become me. See, my kids are now in their 30s. Right now. And as I understand it, it is absolutely necessary for your children to become independent and functional. And logically, this is a time where your kids, as adults, don't need you as much. Sometimes, not at all. Probably most of the time, if you did your job right. But they still call, and they still stop by and visit. And they're happy to share their lives with me. Boy, am I lucky. True. That always puts a smile on my face.
Georgetown's quite a ride, and the family's all inside with a purpose of their own, qualified. What's happening to being just dad? It's the best job I ever had, with Clyde Bear and Pink and adventures on the run. I can still see you leaning on your car, playing Florida guitar, the golden lit sunlight, more than 20 miles from home. See, I keep thinking about you both. My days like a sinking stone. I can't make it go away, so I called you on the phone.
Now, years later, there was one night in the summer when my phone buzzed, and it was a text from my son, which was a cue that we had to call one another. I was dad again. I had purpose again. There I was. So I called him.
Hey, Dad, I was just heading to work, just checking in.
Work going okay?
It was pretty good, same old, same old.
Yeah. Money? Making money?
Oh, yeah, another day, another dollar, but I'm hoping to get two.
But you know, he didn't need socks. He didn't need advice from me. He didn't need the old guitar. He just needed to know I was still there. Bigger than that, just like I need to know the same thing about him. And just like well into his 90s, my dad still needed to know the same thing. And in that moment, I finally understood my father's calls to me back in the day.
Some of your favorite sweatshirts.
As it so happens, we spend so much of our lives trying to move forward that we forget someone behind us is still holding a memory of who we were. My father never mailed me those sweatshirts, but what he really sent me arrived anyway. A reminder that before I was a man, before I was a father, I was someone's little boy who needed to be reminded of everything. So, maybe the curve of life isn't about growing away. Maybe it's about circling back long enough to say, thank you, before the phone eventually goes quiet. For Life's Learning Curve, I'm Paul Hart.
I've got that box of your favorite sweatshirts.
I've got your Florida guitar.
I've got unfinished business with that guitar, but really I was pushed out of a tree by Mother Nature and it broke.
Hey, Riley, of course.
Subscribe to Life's Learning Curve at lifeslearningcurve.org and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Podchaser.
This Season 8 episode of Life's Learning Curve was produced by Sebastian T., Dog, and Paul Hart. Find us just about everywhere podcasts are heard. Visit our website, lifeslearningcurve.org. While you're there, subscribe. We'd love to have you aboard. This episode has imaginative voice recreations to protect the privacy of others. Some names have been changed and characters conflated. Episode 101, The Florida Guitar. For more true stories from our life's archives, you'll find us again right here on Life's Learning Curve.